So, congratulations on making it this far. I know it was a long course, it was a lot of material to cover. This is the final video. So what I want to do is take you to the Alibaba Cloud EDU page, the Academy page, and show you how you can get some additional resources to help you pass either the ACA or ACP exam. Once I've shown you that, we'll go through a few sample questions together so you can get a feel for what the test will be like. So from the home page here, the easiest way to get to the EDU page is actually just to modify this URL to edu.alibabacloud.com. And that will take you over to the Academy page. If you'd prefer to do things through the menu, you can do that also. Here from the resources, if you search around, you'll see that we have a link that goes to the Academy right here, which is the Alibaba Cloud Academy link right here. So you can click on that and that will take you over to the Academy page as well. From here, under certifications, you click on professional and that will take you to the list of professional certifications that we offer. So you can see the computing, big data, and security, ACA, ACP, and ACE exams are all shown here. Just as an example, let's click on view details for the Alibaba Cloud Professional, the ACP Computing exam. So I'll look at ACP Computing. That will take me over to the ACP Computing certification page. And I can do a few things from here. I can take the exam if I've already registered. I can click Buy Now to buy the exam. And I can download an exam outline or exam sample questions. So let's look at these two. These are useful study tools. So if I click on Exam Outline, that will actually open up a PDF file that contains the exam syllabus. So if I'm curious what the breakdown of exam questions is like, I can find that here, so let me scroll down. So you can see there's some background information about the exam, what type of background knowledge you're expected to have in order to pass the exam, what topics will be covered related to what products and concepts, and then also there's some information about offline courses that you could take to help you study for the exam. Of course, you've already taken an online course, so you can ignore that information. And then down here is the most useful part. This tells you that there are 70 questions on the ACP, that they're scored out of 100 marks total, 100 points, and that the exam lasts for 90 minutes. And then there's a breakdown by product so that you know how many questions on each product to expect in the exam itself. And then we also explain how many of each type of question there are. You can see that for the ACP Compute, we have 30 single choice, 15 multiple choice, and 25 true or false. And they all are worth a different number of points. So the single choice and true or false are worth 1 point each. The multiple choice questions are worth 3 points each. And then again, under scope of content, you can get some information about what you're expected to know. For instance, for ECS, you're expected to know about regions and zones, instances, disks, snapshots, images, networks, and security groups. And we have a breakdown for the other products like auto-scaling as well. Let's go back and take a look at the sample questions. So these are a study guide for you to prepare for the exam. These are simulations of questions that appear on the actual exam. So let me scroll down to those. So here's an example single choice question. You'll note that the answers aren't marked on here, so you'll have to do some thinking for yourself. We don't actually tell you what the answers are at the beginning of the sample questions. And then there's also some true or false and multiple choice questions as well, so you can get a feel for what those questions are like. So now let's do a few example questions, and I promise I will use different questions than the ones you see here so that we can avoid overlapping with the practice questions on the website. I'll show you some different new practice questions. So let's look at those. So let's go through a few example exam questions. So we'll focus on questions that aren't covered in the materials that are available on our website. We'll show you some new stuff, and we'll go through a few multiple choice, a few single choice, and a few true-false questions to get some variety. Let's go through 10 questions. We'll start with question 1. Which of the following attacks can Alibaba Cloud Anti-DDoS Basic defend against? And this is a multiple choice question, and you'll notice that in our multiple choice questions we tell you how many correct answers to expect. In this case there should be 4 correct answers. So which of these attacks are attacks that the anti-DDoS service can defend against? Give it a try. Okay, so it's the first 4, A, B, C, and D. Anti-DDoS Basic can defend against SYN flood, UDP flood, ACK flood, and ICMP flood. These are all network layer distributed denial of service attacks. The last option, option E, is not a network layer attack. In fact, it's not even a denial of service attack, so there's nothing that anti-DDoS can do to defend against that. Question 2. Cloud computing services face security threats that affect their availability, integrity, and confidentiality. Which of the following threats directly affects the availability of cloud computing services? And this time, again, it's multiple choice, and there are 2 correct answers. I'll give you a little time to think about it. If you want, you should pause the video here before I reveal the answer. And the correct answer is B and D. Why is that? Well, that's because B and D are both essentially denial of service attacks, which means they make a service unavailable for its regular users. If you contrast that with A and C, the difference is that A and C are designed to give an attacker access to a system. Once they have that access, they can certainly take steps to make the service unavailable to other users, but they could do other things that would be harder to detect, like installing additional malicious software or exfiltrating user data, neither of which would actually make the service unavailable to its regular users. Hence, B and D are the correct answers here. Let's try a true-false. So under the same Alibaba Cloud account, ECS instances in different zones within the same region can access each other over the internal network by default. Is that true or false? And that's true. That's definitely true. ECS instances within the same zone can, in fact, talk to each other over the intranet. If you're wondering how that's possible if they're in different VPC network groups, well, that's where CEN comes in. Cloud Enterprise Network lets you peer VPC groups together and allows them to communicate over the internal intranet. So actually this is true even for ECS instances that are in different VPCs within the same region. Let's try another single choice. So Alibaba Cloud Elastic Compute Service can be applied in many application scenarios. So the question is just saying it's usable in many different scenarios. ECS machines can act not only as standalone servers, but can also integrate with other Alibaba Cloud products. In scenarios like multimedia, high-traffic applications, and website hosting, ECS can work together with Alibaba Cloud blank to reduce storage costs. So where would you want to store files if you're using ECS for a multimedia or site hosting scenario? Once again, I'll give you a moment. You can pause before I give the right answer. And it's OSS. OSS is designed for file storage, so OSS is the correct choice here. Question 5, we have another multiple choice. Company B wants to build an online disk service. This is a very long question, so I'll just summarize. We'll just say that Company B is building essentially their own version of Dropbox. They want to have a cloud storage service that their 3,000 plus employees can use. It needs to have a capacity of about 10 terabytes. And they need to give their users permission to grant viewer download privileges to other people. So which products should they use to do this? The correct number of answers is 3. Okay, so the correct answer is A, B, C. So to save information about files that are hosted in the service, they will need a database, some kind of structured table storage, so they can use AppSariDB for RDS, a traditional database to keep track of file information, download links, and employee info. They can host the disk service interface on ECS, and the files themselves can be stored in OSS. CDN wouldn't really help in this scenario because all of these people work for the same company and are presumably in the same area, probably even within the same physical office or within the same city. And even if that weren't the case, with so few users, CDN caching doesn't really have a chance to improve file access, since most of the files will only be visited once or twice anyway. Question 6, we have a true or false. When using Alibaba Cloud Server Load Balancer, users can enable the health check function. If a backend ECS instance A is running abnormally, SLB will isolate it and forward the requests to other ECS instances, and when the backend ECS instance A is back in a normal state, SLB will again forward requests to it. Is this true? Can SLB perform health checks, and can it take a server out of the SLB server group and then place it back in once it's healthy? Is that true or false? And it's true, yes, SLB does do that. It has the ability to stop routing traffic to an unhealthy ECS and then start routing traffic to the ECS again once it's back in a healthy state. Question 7, a single choice question. Alibaba Cloud SLB distributes traffic among multiple ECS instances. The ECS instances that provide backend services must be, and this is a tough one, so I'll give you a second. You can pause and think about it. They must be in the same region. There's no requirement that the servers behind your SLB have to be in the same zone, but they really do need to be in the same region for SLB to route traffic to them. Question 8. Alibaba Cloud SLB provides service for distributing traffic among multiple ECS instances featuring high availability, low cost, security, and reliability. Which of the following statements are correct regarding Alibaba Cloud SLB? And this is a multiple choice with 3 correct answers. So I'll give you a moment to think. You can pause here if you want and think about it. And the correct answer is ABC. Server load balancers that don't have a public IP address are indeed free of charge. Server load balancer does support elastic resizing, and it can help avoid single points of failure because it's an HA service that spans multiple zones. It does not provide free anti-DDoS capacity up to 20 gigabits per second. Instead, it caps out at 5 gigabits per second, which is why answer D is false. So the correct answer is ABC. Okay, question 9. True or false? OSS storage space is not limited, but each bucket can only hold 65,535 files. Is this true or false? And it's false. OSS buckets can hold an essentially unlimited number of files. There's no hard upper limit. Question 10. Alibaba Cloud OSS is a cloud storage service that features massive capacity, outstanding security, low cost, and high reliability. In an OSS bucket, all elements are stored as which of these? And it's a single choice question. Pause here if you want to think about it. Otherwise, I will give the answer. And the answer is C. Everything in OSS is stored as an object. That's more or less the name we use to refer to files that are stored in OSS. We call them objects. And with that, I'll stop here. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you do well on your exam, and I hope to see you in future courses.